only please them, you know.
True. Now, as we have just covered that sexual abuse and sexual violence, but that is one part, as we said. There's another thing is physical violence and threats. Coercion means usually you coerce somebody to do something which against their will. You try to coerce
Yeah.
somebody, all right, and you just, so what kind of threats and intimidation or stalking or emotional abuse means? Sexual abuse we understand, just for the sake of pleasure they're doing it, or greed or whatever, but other physical violence jo hota hai, on what basis it happens? Just because the woman starts arguing or out of whack? I mean, like, what is the reason for physical violence for anybody, women to throw things at the man and the man to throw things at women, or physically hitting each other? So what could be the reason, causative factors for that? Nina?
Yes, I said physical, or I think usse zyada emotionally you can किसी को you know like can play that
abuse
card.
abuse करने का.
Yes, abuse है, or that's more kind of more than physical. I think कि एक दफा उनके you know like self esteem ही low कर देते हैं because of you. Any problem in the house is because of you. So there are different ways, you know, like
Right.
it is different.
Right, Nina. The reason I understand emotional abuse वगैरह हो रहा है, emotional abuse करने के लिए what is the reason, क्या होता है, what is the cause?
ये उनकी yeah. Sorry, I think कुछ तो complex है, या inferiority complex है या superiority कि I'm the best, और वो फिर किसी को दूसरे को, I think मैं अपने experience से कह सकती हूँ कि when we are young, I think that's what I used to say, कि when we are young we want to change the world.
जी.
कि जिस तरह के हम हैं, we are the best, मेरे आगे कोई और मुझे किसी की बात समझ नहीं आती है, मुझे लगता है कि जो मैं सोच रही हूँ, जो मैं कर रही हूँ, that's the best way. तो हमें वो tolerance नहीं होती, acceptance नहीं होती कि दूसरे को हम दूसरे की बात सुन सकें. So as we, you know, with experience and age wise, then we realize कि people are different, they are not same. So अगर जब हम वो सोच लेते हैं तो हम एक दूसरे को respect करते हैं, उसकी फीलिंग को, उसके बिहेवियर को, सब कुछ हम समझने की कोशिश करते हैं. एंड पर्सन हु ट्राइज टू कंट्रोल, नॉर्मली वही खुद इंफीरियरिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स में होता है, किसी ना किसी चीज का कॉम्प्लेक्स होता है उसको कि वो फिर पावर दिखाना चाहता है. तो आई थिंक इट्स बोथ वेज. आई ऑलवेज से दैट आई हैव सीन वुमेन, आई हैव सीन मेन, बोथ हैव डन दैट इन फैमिलीज. सो समटाइम्स मेन आल्सो सफर because of women, because if you know, they have done that part in that relationship.
Cyril bhai, your thoughts on this? Cyril, just what just Nina said.
I would say that you know, like I think it's also offshoot of sexually. Again, the same problem. Like if there was a refusal or there was no consent to a sexual, then it will offshoot in a person,
different form,
and then it will start building on the person, right? And then all these things will come up. Look, culturally, if I haven't brought up in India or like in Indian background, I would say male is the superior, which has always been with us, right? And because I mean, look at it this way: like everybody loves a male child. When there's a female child born, there is not much of a rejoicing, right? And then, so it comes down to the cultural part of it. And then it could be the cultural thing. And then the second thing could be, as Nina says, not low self-esteem due to, well, maybe job, or could be where the person is living. Maybe they don't own a house or whatever. These things are built up into the, and then of course, financial problem, right? So the financial problem comes up, and then so it's a very complex issue at the moment of family life. With the old generations, they lived in one village and one area, and they carried on from one generation to the next generation. Over us, we have plucked ourselves from our own countries, different part of the world, and it's a totally different, you know, like.
But in your opinion, we are talking about the problems in culture back home, culturally. So in what respect, in what way that thinking can be changed culturally कि understand करने के लोगों को. अब तो people living in villages, they have no culture, whatever they think, the men are the misogynistic society, whatever you call it. So how do you change the thought process of people, the men and women, okay, this is not right, this is wrong, blah, 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 kind of stuff. So there has to be, we always know that we are trying to acknowledge the problem, we're not trying to talk about the solution, how we could really initiate a change in the thinking of the people, chahe city mein ho ya, it's because of the brought up, the mother bolti mama's boy, and he's always pampered, chalo bhai, I'm dada, and women always to put down a little bit here, tu ladki hai, you have to sahna padega, jis ghar mein dola jayega, us ghar se doli jayegi, us ghar se dola jana. This was nonsensical kind of a brainwashing of the woman, child. Jis ghar mein doli jayegi, us ghar se dola jana. What kind of nonsense is that?
It is. I mean, for modern days, those are very old concepts. Old ways of looking at things, right?
Right. So in what way we should really, because there are a lot of NGOs are working on different aspects, but is there any NGO you think in India who really tries to motivate people, this is wrong, just try to promote? Nina, your thought on this, Nina? The idea...
Yeah, so, yeah. He has a point, you want to say something, Dr.?
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. You know, I was going to say कि मुझे लगता है हमेशा कि हम फिजिकल जैसे कहते हैं ना वेलबींग पे देते हैं बहुत एम्फेसिस के उसमें इमोशनल वेलबींग का नहीं देते. So I think it has to start somewhere when the children are growing up. वो ठीक है कि अगर हम पेरेंट्स को ही नहीं पता और हम वो क्या टीच करेंगे हम आगे. So I think somewhere one generation has to start. कि कहीं ना कहीं ये शुरू होना चाहिए how to teach children to be emotionally strong and independent, कि वो abuse ले ही नहीं और उनको ये how like as soon as it happens they know कि something is, कई दफा आपको पता ही नहीं चलता and you think कि this is normal. So ये सब मुझे लगता है कि it's a parents job, school की job, as Dr. Namath always you said कि schools में ये teach करना not only moral values, उनको ये भी सिखाना चाहिए कि कैसे आप इमोशनली स्ट्रांग बने एंड like there are ways they can do it कि अपनी सेल्फ एस्टीम को कैसे like they don't live in a low self esteem, तो उनको पर्पस इन लाइफ there are so many subjects or they can start as and gender equality we always talked about कि जरूरी नहीं है कि लड़के की जॉब है या मुझे लगता है आजकल डिफरेंस है डॉक्टर नेमत. आई थिंक पीपल प्रेफर गर्ल्स टू बी there are parents who they want a girl in the family.
Right, Nina, we are talking about metropolis, okay? Talking about village side, if you go beyond cities, there's a lot of rapes happening, a lot of abuses happening. Women are still subjected to as the inferiority kind of a thing, Srilbhai, go ahead, please, your thoughts on just what we discussed with Nina. Go ahead, Nina.
Well, to me, it's basically, again, question comes up of if a person is living, say like in a Western society we're living in, there are, there's so much of literature available. There is television all the time that, any abuse that comes up, there are so many things that we can learn from all those things. If a person wants to change, they will change. And and the person realizes, all right, what negativity I've got regarding all these sort of concepts. It's about time that I've changed, okay? And for the betterment of the family and for the betterment of the partner as a unit to perform, to go ahead, I think they would, like Australian government gives away so much of it. There are women refuges and different things. There are counselors which are available. All they have to do is pick up the phone and they counsel for freely and different things. So there are every step of the way, if the person wants to change, there are ways that they can change, and there are help available.
Right. Nina, in your opinion, once in a marriage mein ho ya relationship mein ho, once you sense there is some kind of abuse there, emotional or physical or whatever, You think it should be brought to the attention of somebody that this is happening here in a relationship mein or in a marriage mein, to avoid further seek help?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If people, first of all, if they don't recognize, तो उनको help समझ नहीं आती कि what we need. And secondly, अगर कुछ neighbor या आपके relation में, family में आप देखते हैं and you want to report, that doesn't work either. Because कहीं ना कहीं उनकी ego आ जाती है कि हमारी family है, why you are concerned, unless they themselves ask for help. It's like, you know, you give advice to someone, कोई नहीं सुनता. अगर वो खुद advice पूछने आए कि हमारे, you know, something is not working in our family, या ऐसे क्यों हो रहा, so then people can, you know, like guide you, they can provide help. Help is there, but you have to ask for it.
So it's very difficult, I think, as you said, you know, what is isolation then? You try to, there's an abuse also, try to deprive them of food, like bachon ka hota usually, you know, they try to put in a room and then don't provide no food, and they try to chain them up. A lot of things happening back home also. Child abuse, jo kehte hain, that's also abuse, right?
Yes, it is. And where the person is totally trying to control the family and the woman, and so what he does, he or she does is they deprive them of financial assistance, food sometimes, and so it comes down to even the children are abused. Even the children are abused with that, in the sense that, all right, I'm not going to give you, you know, like new uniform or new pocket money and different things, just because you're not getting along with this, you know, like you are not. So that part of it is there. That the control, when a controlling man is there, they will isolate the person, and by isolation is through first breaking the morale of the person. Like confidence उसका एकदम खत्म कर दिया. जब उसमें confidence नहीं होगा, अपने दोस्तों में भी नहीं बता पाएगी, क्योंकि we all have got our own intimate friends that we are surrounding ourselves.
Confidant. Yeah.
So we are social animals, and we always have, whether we are living in wherever, in Melbourne or wherever. So we surround ourselves with that, and that is where the comfort, where a person can prosper. Now, but if I don't have any self-esteem within my own self, and also due to that, my children are going to suffer same way, because they also won't have. So what happens there is the man or the person who's doing it to it is having the upper hand, but they don't realize that they're doing it. You see,
right?
They're not. And you can't, if the person wants to do it, he can do it, or, you know, like change for the better. But they think that they are right. So it carries on from one month to another, and years have passed, and the whole life is passed, and everybody is damaged in the family.
Right, Nina?
And it's very sad.
In this situation, Nina, as you said, school days, bachpan se hi, they should also be taught a subject like as Cyril Bhai was saying, you know, kis tarah se, what we were talking about, this trying to intimidate and trying to put threats on the children. So right now what happens in the Western countries, if the child feels threatened, they can always go tell the teacher and take action. It has happened in so many places. So I remember one case as I was practicing, one child, I know the family, they're nice people. So mom said something, and the little boy, 6-7 years old, mom, don't try to get angry at me, I'm going to call 911 because the child will be 6 months. I mean, 6-year-old, she said, because they're trained in school. Okay, you can't take this way, because it's going, as you said, it has a lot of effect on the emotional kind of well-being, I think, of the child. Right, so at least they are taught the right, at least to complain to somebody, at least to authorities, you know. And it happened once. A patient came to me, and I was trying to treat that. The patient had some problem in the teeth, and somebody complained to the child, what do you call the child care, child aid, whatever, child welfare society, I guess. And those the inspectors came to my office and they talked to me. What do you think, doc? Is this abuse or what? So then I have to explain to them what blah blah. So even if doctors have to report when the children goes to the doctor, if they see any bruise, any hurt, anything in the physical aspect in the body or mouth or whatever, they're supposed to file a complaint. So these kind of things also should have for emotional trauma also. I'm thinking this is only for kind of injuries, So even the child goes through, as Cyril Bhai rightly pointed out, intimidation and trying to keep on threatening. The child can go so much of psychological depression, like, kind of fear. So that, what do you think, Nina, about that part, right? So how should you make the first move to bring this thing, should write the comments to education departments? Emotional trauma is very, very bad, I think, Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Nina, please go ahead. Yeah.
No, I said it has a long-lasting effect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
It's only because, see, the problem is the violence is accepted and condoned. So once the behavior, violence is condoned, or like in a society, in the circle of friends, or like a joint family or whatever, that sort of a thing. Once it's condoned, then the person can't get out of it. Then the other part of it is many people do not recognize themselves as abusers. They don't think they are abusers, right? Or victims, because they may consider their experiences as family conflicts which have gone out of control.
Achha, the point also goes, Cyril Bhai, that if a woman or a child is abused, because they are keeping quiet, that action keeps repeating itself, because once you stand up for your whatever defense or whatever, so that means the person who's abusing will be put to stop, right?
Well, it doesn't. The thing is, if it is repeated, then it is domestic violence. If it has happened and the person has corrected themselves by the partner standing up for themselves, and saying, look, you're wrong, and so is the parents, Dad, I think you're wrong. In my case, I'm a male, so I was always pointing out the male is wrong.
Right, that's true. Yeah, that's true. The testosterone works, I think, you got to be taken under control.
So if they all get together and say, all right, I think you're wrong, you're out of step. You're totally out of step. It should not happen. And if the person corrects it, that's the end of it. And they are more careful. Right? True. But if the person keeps repeating it, then it becomes a case of domestic violence.
Correct. Now, coming back to next one is stalking. So when you stalk somebody, what exactly it means? You're stalking your partner, you're stalking your girlfriend, you're stalking children. What exactly is stalking in your opinion, Nina? After that, Cyril will talk. Go ahead. Yeah, Nina, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking.
Stalking means chasing, following somebody to their work. Usually, it's the relationship, man. Yeah.
Recently, that's what I was thinking about this story recently. Like a well-known artist here in the United States, and how they protect their children. Someone was going behind their school, and how like they had restrained, got some, they had to report the case. So these things happen, especially I think when you are in public life, I think they have to protect their children. So recently I was trying to remember the name, but I don't want to mention here. So recently I heard about it, but these things do happen. People.
Great. Cyril, your thoughts on this, Cyril, stalking? Go ahead, please.
Well, the stalking is basically possessiveness.
Achha.
Right? It could be cultural, like if you are married, you basically have been married in a post-marriage, culturally married, or also like a child marriage or whatever. So what is happening is like in our modern, in today's world, is basically the person doesn't accept. The person means the perpetrator doesn't accept that he's wrong.
Okay.
So what happens is his next step is, even if she goes away and divorces him and goes away to a different part, right? Wherever. Well, she is still his possession. He hasn't separated himself from her. and he hasn't come to realize that I made mistake. That is the reason I've done it. So what he does, he goes and stalks her. He goes to the school where she's teaching somewhere,
right?
But the children are there,
right?
And all of, and if the children or the wife sees the person, they are just frozen because they're so scared. I got away from him.
Correct.
Now over here there is there's a cycle where the person cannot come in 5 kilometers of the house.